They're back. I think it's safe to say that we all love a bit of bass on our headphones, but not too much. But you might want too much. And actually, if you do want too much, these could be the best headphones ever. These are the Skullcandy Crusher 1080 ANC, and they follow on from the ANC2 that I reviewed a couple of years ago. And just like the ANC2, they have something called the Crusher dial, which is this thing here, which does something utterly hilarious and utterly fantastic. However, the big difference between these and these is that the new pair have sound by Bose. The result of that is very, very interesting. This video is sponsored by Skullcandy, but it's not a review. It's me waxing lyrical about a pair of headphones I genuinely love. And I know there's a big Skullcandy fan base out there. Let's get into it. Let's start with the design, which is very Skullcandy. We have the Skullcandy logo there, which you cannot mistake from any other headphone manufacturer. They are plastic, but it feels like good plastic. The cushioning is fantastic. The head cushioning there, and also the ear cup cushioning is very good. In terms of sitting on my bald head, this is important because if you are follically challenged like myself, you'll know that certain headphones stick out quite a bit. I think these don't. I think they sit quite closely to my head, which is fantastic. If you're blessed with hair, you won't have this issue at all. They're very light, very comfortable. You can wear them for long periods of time, but they feel very well made and they fold properly. So few headphones do this these days. Quite often the headphones they just do that, whereas Skullcandy understand that kind of folding makes a huge amount of sense. That's part of the reason we have a small bag with them. If I had the choice, I would rather have a case, a hard case, but I do appreciate I'm a little bit old-fashioned when it comes to headphone cases. Most people just chuck their headphones in the bag, which means the fact that you have a case, or a bag rather, into which you can put your headphones and do this. It's got a nice little strap on here as well, so you can strap that to your bag. They compact down very nicely, so you can chuck them in your bag and not worry about them, but also they're protected by the case, which is fantastic. The other thing that I really want to make a big point of, which is a big thing really, it's quite an important element of these headphones, is the fact we don't have touch controls. So it's all proper buttons. Proper buttons, dials, Crusher dial, which I'll come on to in a second. They're all really well made, really satisfying to interact with. And it just means that when you've got them on your head, you're not constantly, accidentally pressing touch controls, which is incredibly irritating. In terms of colors, we have this black version, but there's also candy, primer, and cement, which is, again, completely Skullcandy. That's what they do. Right, let's get on to this. Okay, so the Crusher dial. What this does, and I think what I'll do, I'll demonstrate it just by reacting to it. There's no way that you can experience this by watching me talk about these headphones on a video, but the best way to describe it is that it feels as though you're in a club. So immediately the bass starts shaking. If I turn it up, it's off at the moment. I might be shouting because I can't hear anything, but if I turn it up now, the bass really starts to pump. But it doesn't just, let me stop that. It doesn't just pump. What it does, it vibrates. And it's physically vibrating these ear cups. There are haptic motors inside each ear cup which increase in intensity as you turn up the Crusher dial, and they do it obviously in time with the bass response. So I'm not entirely sure how they do this. It's very smart, but basically the Crusher system inside of these, all the motors, are reacting to the bass. So you have this kind of thing where as you turn it up, it feels as though the bass is getting more and more intense, which it kind of is, but it's only getting more intense because you can feel these motors. It's not damaging your hearing. It's not actually properly increasing the bass to a point where your eardrums are going to start bleeding and you end up with tinnitus with it for the rest of your life. Although don't listen to headphones too loudly. That's definitely some advice from myself. It just increases this presence of bass, and it makes you feel, like I say, like you're in a club, like you're at a stadium gig where the PA is really big and meaty. If you're really into any kind of music that's particularly bass heavy, whether it be, I'm not going to say EDM because I'm too old for that. Whether it's dance music, R&B, any bass heavy stuff, even rock music where they have big thumping kick drums. If you want to really feel that stuff, literally, that is what the Crusher dial is for. It's this kind of tactile rumble that you can feel in your ears, and it's really addictive. And when I reviewed the previous generation, it was clear that a lot of people absolutely love these. For instance, if you're at the gym pumping weights, you need a pair of these. So as mentioned at the start of the video, these have sound by Bose, which basically means Skullcandy brought Bose in and used their expertise in EQ, sound profiles, everything audio basically, to make these sound as good as possible, which I'm glad they did, because if there's one thing you could potentially say about the previous generation is that, you know, the bass response was incredible, but the overall sound didn't compete with the likes of Bose headphones. Now it does. So we have that Bose influence. And that means that if you turn this all the way down, so if you don't have any of the crusher going on, you just have the natural sound profile, these sound fantastic. They still have very deep and detailed bass. They have a lovely wide sound stage, so you can hear everything going on. You can pick out instruments that you may not have heard before on lesser headphones. The mid-range is very punchy. It sticks out as it should do without becoming fatiguing. I've worn these for considerable amounts of time, and they do not fatigue in terms of the audio. And that is a classic sign of Bose getting involved. Even when you turn up the crusher dial, that sound quality remains, because remember, most of the crusher thing that's going on is down to those motors. It's down to the haptic motors vibrating in the ear cups. So you're not really spoiling the sound. You're just adding that kind of weight of the bass via motors. The Bose sound is still there, and it's made a massive difference with these. The other thing you get thanks to Bose is True Spatial, which is Bose's head tracking feature. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a way of fixing the audio that you're listening to in a space. So if you're watching TV, watching movies, that sort of stuff, if you turn your head, the audio stays over there. It's very hard to describe, but it kind of makes it feel as though the audio is coming from the source in front of you. In that mode, it means it's fixed, so it's fixed in that position, but you can have tracked. So as you move your head, the sound stage moves around with you. And because it's tuned for movies and TV and that sort of stuff, it's much, much wider. Let me just grab the Mark Ellis Reviews branded headphone stand. Let me know if you'd buy one of those in the comments. Merch, etc. Right, ANC, these are noise cancelling headphones, so they need to do a good job at noise cancelling. The good news is they really do. I think part of the reason for that is because even the natural noise, or the kind of noise cancelling with noise cancelling turned off, is very good. They're turned off now, and because they really wrap themselves around your ears, the whole world goes quiet anyway. Then you turn noise cancelling on, and it gets even better. Kids wear the headphones like that, don't they? I should do that for the rest of the review. It's up there with some of the, I look ridiculous. It's up there with some of the best. It's very, very good noise cancelling. We also have the stay aware mode, which is Skullcandy's transparency setting, which lets the outside world in and you can hear yourself on telephone calls. 60 hours of battery life. I'm jumping about a bit here, but these are the kind of quality of life things. 60 hours, that's incredible. Rapid charge, so 10-minute charges give you 4 hours of playback. They have Bluetooth 5.3, LE audio with Auracast, and multi-point connectivity for 2 devices, and USB-C audio. Right, let's head outside for a mic test. Right, okay, on to my famous mic test with conveniently traffic driving past. There's a little bit of wind hitting the ear cups as well. These are the mics on the Skullcandy Crusher 1080, and immediately the transparency mode, where I can hear my own voice, isn't as good as some headphones, but it's still not bad at all, actually. I can hear myself fine. I can hear my surroundings. But the big question is, what are the mics like? Let me know what you think down below, and back to me in the studio. We do, of course, have the Skullcandy app, which is very good. This has everything from personal sound setup to custom EQ. There's some preset EQs as well for gaming mode and that sort of stuff. There's a sleep mode. There's a natural voice side tone. And I know that when I was out on that test a moment ago, I mentioned that the transparency mode wasn't quite up there. Well, actually, if you increase this thing called side tone, there's a little slider there, it increases the amount that you can hear your own voice. That makes a big difference. So regardless of what I said out there, you can increase the volume of your own voice, which is a very, very good thing. Okay, let's talk about the price. I've not mentioned that yet. It's $279.99, which sits comfortably below a lot of the other competition, the likes of Sony, Bose, etc. These are cheaper. They have fantastic noise cancelling. They have the crusher dial, that incredibly immersive bass response thing going on, which you don't get anywhere else. There's no other pair of headphones I've come across that have that. And they have sound by Bose, which means despite the head rocking bass, you do get really good audio. There's a lot going for these. They're comfortable as well, and I think they look good. Guys, if you're thinking about buying I need to get this name right, the Crusher 1080, you will not be disappointed. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you know what to do.